Welcome in, and you are sitting courtside with Karli Bell, just me this week. Before we get into everything about the WNBA, I just want to talk Chicago Sky. As I'm recording this, the Minnesota Lynx are currently in progress, taking on the Golden State Valkyries. So we're going to get into WNBA talk a little bit later. So hopefully, by the time I'm done chatting Sky, we can actually get into the rest of the league. So, Sky pick up their first wins of the season with two big wins over the Dallas Wings, one at home at Wintrust and then one away in Dallas. Now, there's a lot of great things to talk about in both games. And before we get into it, I'm going to be doing a film breakdown of this game over on our Patreon, which is Courtside with Karli Bell at Courtside KB on the Patreon. So if you want to see film breakdowns of these last two wins, by all means, join that man-to-man tier. $6 a month. You pay more for Netflix and Hulu. Just saying. So anyway, let's get into these games. First off, the past week, last time I spoke to you guys on the podcast, they had not played Phoenix yet. And that Phoenix game was a real tough game for the Sky because honestly, they strung together a really good 3.5 quarters. 3.5 quarters. And then Phoenix just started to run away with it. And a lot of that is due to turnovers. And I know it's something I've talked about all season is the turnover battle. And turnovers are still an issue for the Sky. We're going to talk positives, obviously, but let's get the negative stuff out of the way, right? Turnovers are still an issue. Heading into the game against LA, they were averaging around 21.5 turnovers a game, which is not good. Heading out of this week, that has dropped to 18.2. You're still in the top 3 in the league and how many turnovers you allow. So still something that you need to get cleaned up. But let's talk about it. Those turnovers, late turnovers, and again, not locking down the perimeter were things that were a problem in both the game against the Sparks and the game against the Mercury. They were allowed to shoot the open threes. There was missed rotations defensively. And the turnovers were bad turnovers. They weren't turnovers that you can sit there and be okay with, where it's a fight for the ball and the ball rolls out of bounds, or it's a block shot. You thought it rolls off somebody else. It ends up rolling off your hand. That's a lot different. You can sit there and you can kind of be okay with those type of turnovers. The turnovers that were happening, though, were bad passes, the ball being poked away because you're not holding on to the ball, valuing the basketball is the biggest thing. And it's something that they still need to work on. Heading into both games against Dallas, they hit season lows in turnovers, both 14 turnovers in the home game against Dallas and then 15 turnovers in the away game against Dallas. You want to see that trend continue. The issue, though, with the Sky is the turnovers. Yeah, you got to value the basketball, but it's the points that you're allowing off the turnovers. The Sky right now are tied in for top in the league for the amount of points that they give off of turnovers, which is just around 16 to 18 points off those turnovers. If you're able to limit that and hold on to the ball and not allow your opponents to take the turnover and beat you in transition, take the turnover and just score real quick on the other end. And the other thing is a lot of it has been 3-pointers that they've been giving up. If you're able to lock that down and just learn to value the basketball and find that, and a lot of that comes with chemistry, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but it's something that's the biggest focus now for this Sky is the turnover problem. The turnovers need to be resolved. If you want to be considered a top 5 team, you need to get your average down to between 10 to 12 a game. That you can deal with 13. You can deal with 13. They're already there, and it's, again, gonna come with chemistry. And in those Dallas games, here's the positive now, guys. In those Dallas games, that is where the chemistry really, really showed. The passes were so much better. They were cleaner. You could tell that everyone kind of knew where their spots were. They knew how to feed people. And we're going to talk about that home game first. The person that just shined, obviously Ariel Atkins is kicking into a new level of aggressiveness and tenacity. And we're going to talk about her here in a second. But that confidence in Kamilla Cardoso in that game on May 29th against the Dallas Wings, that is what the Sky need out of her every single game. They had great drops for her early, too. Of the first 8 possessions, Kamilla had 6 baskets. Fantastic. When you're 6'7", feed the person that's 6'7". She towers over everybody. Take advantage of it. You have the size advantage, use it. What the problem with Kamilla is, though, is the fouls. I do believe Kamilla is not getting some calls that are going her way, but you also need to think about it. Who is she guarding? A lot of the times she's guarding, people that have been in the league 5, 7, 9, 10 years. And those vets are going to get more calls than somebody who's only 2 years in. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. The superstar calls are a real thing. Kamilla still needs to do that. And a lot of that will come with her learning how to play disciplined defense. In that second game against the Dallas Wings, the reason the Sky weren't able to use her offensively and tap into that efficiency again is because she got into foul trouble really early. She needs to learn how to play disciplined defense. There are some calls that obviously did not go her way, but there's been hacking. There's been understanding footwork. Her feet are moving, and you can't do that when you're guarding inside the restricted area. You got to be planted feet, straight up. You can't move your feet. You're always going to get the call against you. Always. However, back to the game on May 29th against the Wings at home. Kamilla Cardoso just found so much confidence. And she even said after the game, I played with confidence today. My teammates really lifted me up. And she said that her playing in China this past off season was really beneficial for her because she was able to learn what she's able to do offensively. She was able to find that confidence, able to figure out and know that she can be a dominant force. And head coach Tyler March said it best. Kamilla can be dominant when she puts her mind to it. Are there things that the Sky needs to do to make sure that she's put in position so that she can find that confidence and be dominant? 1,000%. But when you're put in that position, you need to be able to understand that you can be that dominant. And that's what Marsh is saying with that quote. I believe that Kamilla, if she's able to play with that confidence continuously throughout the season, not just to open up, not just a game here or there, throughout the season, consistency is what you really want to see out of her. She's going to be a dominant force in this league. She absolutely can be a dominant force in this league. She just needs to trust herself and trust her instincts. Now, let's talk about Ariel Atkins. Ariel Atkins is playing with the aggressiveness, the tenacity, the ferociousness, all of that the Sky knew she had in her when they traded for her in the offseason. She has very much tapped into that since that Phoenix Mercury game. 1,000%. She has just finally found where she fits into the system, and her offensive efficiency has just skyrocketed. She's shooting well over 50% from the floor. In the last 2 games, she shot 50% from behind the three-point line. That's what you want to see. That's just in scoring. She's also been great at finding her teammates with her assists. She's also just been so passive. I would hope that a former Defensive Player of the Year still has that in them. And she does. She is so pesky defensively. She, against the Wings, was having to guard Arike Gumbawale. Did she get cooked a little bit in that first game with Arike putting up 37 points? Yes, but Arike is also Arike. So when her hand's hot, there's sometimes nothing you can do. You can put as much a hand in her face. You can face guard her. You can make her life a living hell. But guess what? If the hand's hot, it's just going to go. And that was the case in the Wings game at home. In the Wings game away, Ariel Atkins was able to lock down Arike. Arike's hand also wasn't hot, but she was able to lock it down to make it really difficult to where Arike could not get those open threes. Everything that she had was contested. And what Ariel Atkins has done in these last 3 games, you kind of saw it in the Sparks game, a smidge. You saw it a little bit. You really started to see it in the Mercury game. It was there. That intentionality, that aggressiveness was there. But these last 2 games against the Wings, and some people will say it's an opponent situation. Is there some truth to that? Yes. But also, the Sky now have played more games together. I truly believe them playing 4 games in 6 days was a huge benefit for them, because when you had that awful loss at the start of the season to the Indiana Fever, and you had 4 days before you then play New York, and you suffer another terrible loss and then short turnaround, forces them to understand the mentality of flushing a loss, moving on, just study the film, look at it, go out there, see what you can do better, and see the improvements. And guess what? It worked. That Sparks game, that third quarter perimeter defense was just not there. Kelsey Plum was able to light it up. 17 points. 17 of their 33 points came from Kelsey Plum, a lot of them coming from beyond the arc. Against Phoenix, perimeter game was locked down for about 3-ish quarters, and then it became a problem again. They weren't able to string a full 4 quarters. Also, Phoenix just got great shots. They hit more clutch shots down the stretch than the Sky did. Again, chemistry. But then against Dallas, they locked down Dallas, who does have hot perimeter shooters. Yes, there's a battle inside with Maisha Hines-Allen, Tierra McCown, Alyssa Smith, 1,000%. But in that first game, they didn't have Paige Beckers in the second game. But in that first game, you have Paige Beckers. You also have Arike Gumbawale. You got Dejanay Carrington. You got Maddie Siegrist. You have people there that can hit down the three, and they limited Dallas to shooting just around 35%, 35-36% in that first game at home. Away, shut them down even more so to under 30%. That type of perimeter defense needs to continue, and a lot of that is because of Ariel Atkins. She has just looked phenomenal these last 3 games. When she was asked, what's kind of been clicking for her, she said that she's just been playing with intentionality, but she also credits it to chemistry. And you can see that more and more and more as there is progress every single week. Somebody else we got to give a shout out to because she made a record this week at that Wings game at home is Courtney Vandersloot, becoming the Sky's all-time leading scorer and all-time field goals in the franchise history is Courtney Vandersloot. Congratulations to her. Upwards of 3,700 points and counting because it's only game 4, game 5. Just unbelievable accomplishment for her to have with a franchise that she played so long for. She was drafted to. She also beat her wife. Her wife held the record. Allie Quigley held the record, and then she beat that with her wife in the stands along with their daughter in the stands. You can't write a better script than that. Just a really phenomenal moment. And what was great is as the record happened, you could tell Sloot was aware that it was happening, but didn't know where she was in the scoring percentage. It was just either right out of a timeout or right out of a media break. Greg Gardner, the PA voice of the Chicago Sky, gave the recognition to Vandersloot for her breaking the record, and the whole arena let out the loudest salute I've heard in the 4 or 5 seasons covering the Sky. And she couldn't help but smile. Camera's on her. She's looking up, understanding. Just a cool moment. And what an amazing accomplishment to score upwards of 3,700 points with the franchise is just a really unbelievable accomplishment. And I just want to say congratulations to her. And she played such a great game. Those assists. The Sky have just really missed having a true point guard on this team. And what Courtney Vandersloot brings to this team and her ability to be a playmaker and be a facilitator for not just her bigs that she's got inside, but for everybody on the team. You can just tell how much she has been missed in Chicago. Tyler March said it after the game as well, that Courtney Vandersloot is the Chicago Sky. She is that leader. She is that voice. She is somebody that everybody looks up to. Everybody listens to. She may not be loud, but everyone listens when she has something to say. And it's just a really phenomenal record moment for Vandersloot to accomplish. And just a congratulations to her. And Tyler Marsh also getting his first win of his head coaching career at home at Wintrust in a real close game that came down to the final 3 minutes. That game, the Sky went on a 16-8 run to close out the game for them to pull away with the win. And that quick turnaround from their win on Thursday to their game on Saturday showed that tremendous progress that the Sky are making. That game against Dallas at home, it came down to really the final 3 minutes and who was going to make the clutch baskets late, who was going to make those winning plays. Angel Reese was one of them. Ariel Atkins was another. Courtney Vandersloot. The whole team made winning plays in the final 3 minutes of that game. Angel Reese, though, really put up some clutch buckets in that Dallas Wings game. But that first Dallas Wings game. But then on Saturday, that was a double-digit win. And seeing a double-digit win this early in the season against a team that you just played shows great progress. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about Angel Reese, because what I've seen out of Angel the last 2 ish. I'd say 2 to, I wouldn't include the Phoenix game. I would really say against the Dallas Wings. And I'm also going to say this, credit to the Dallas Wings defense, because Angel Reese was getting triple teamed a lot of the time. She was just getting swarmed every time that she was in the paint. But I'm just noticing that there's something different in how she's carrying herself. I don't know what it could be. There could be things happening in her personal life. There could be things that we are not even privy to from a media standpoint, because, at the end of the day, these are human beings. But I've noticed there's something not there. I'm not going to say she's not what she's doing. She's still contributing. She's still making winning plays. She's still a very vital part of the Sky's identity because of what she's able to do. And I'm going to talk about a positive here in a minute. But I'm noticing energy is different. And I can't pinpoint what it is. It could be I'm overreading something. It could be that I'm misjudging something. I'll 1,000% take ownership of that if that is what it is. But something's off. There's a different energy. There's something different there in how she's carrying herself on the court. And I don't know what to attribute it to. If I'm going to take a guess, this is my guess. I'm not going to say it's true. I'm not going to say she's absolutely said this. This is my opinion on what I've seen. I feel like Angel Reese is somebody that throughout her career, a team's offensive identity has had to explicitly rely on what she can do inside. It's kind of always been on her shoulders. And that was kind of the case in her rookie season. Without Kamilla and Angel, there was really no offensive presence. There was Kennedy Carter, yes, but you didn't really have anybody else that was able to contribute on a consistent basis outside of Kamilla and Angel specifically, because Kamilla was out for a huge chunk of the season with the shoulder. A lot of the identity relied on Angel Reese. This year, that's not the case. There are so many other veterans on this team. You have Elizabeth Williams, Ariel Atkins, Courtney Vandersloot, Rebecca Allen, Kia Nurse. You also then have Michaela Onyenwere. But it's not always going to have to be on her in regards to Angel. The whole offensive identity doesn't rely on her. If anything, it relies on everybody, which is a sign of a balanced team, of a balanced approach, of a system that shows selfless basketball. And I think that's something that she's having to kind of learn, is that it's not all on her. She doesn't yes. Do you still need to contribute in winning plays that will not show up on the stat sheet? 1,000%. And that was the case in these last 2 games against the Dallas Wings. She got great deflections. She was able to create turnovers. She made great reads defensively that limited any type of momentum that Dallas was able to bring. Was she able to, and then I'm really going to get into her assisting, because I've genuinely been impressed. But it's something I'm just noticing, an energy about her that's different. I can't pinpoint it. I really can't. It could also be me overthinking, overreading, misreading something. And I'll take ownership of that if it is that. But I'm just noticing there's something different in how she's carrying herself. And maybe she is just starting to realize that it's not all on her. And now that you're part of a system where you don't have to be, you can be, but you don't have to be, is something that she's really having to relearn and understand place on the team. And I think that's something that's going to be a huge benefit to her in the long run, because when she's able to realize that it really does take a team to do this, it doesn't always have to all rely on her. We saw that progression happen in the Dallas Wings game. She got a rebound, pulled it down to her waist. I'm going to do a breakdown of her performance in the Patreon episode, so make sure you go ahead and join our Patreon of what I want to see differently out of her, and you can see film that I want to show support it. Just bringing it down to her waist and putting it back up. And if it misses, she gets the rebound, and if she sees that she doesn't have the positioning there, she does the kick out. She's not forcing it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. She does it once, maybe twice, if she sees she has the positioning. And if she's realizing she doesn't, she knows she has a safety option to kick out to. It's not all having to be on her. And that's why you're seeing her stats in other parts of the stat sheet. In her rebound, she's always going to be a great rebounder. Always. I'm never going to not say that. She's a phenomenal rebounder. But what I'm really impressed with in these last 3 games specifically is her assisting ability. She's got an IQ and a court vision that's working for her to find her teammates. She's also putting the ball in better positions where for her teammates' hands to make shots. That's improvement. She's also, these deflections that she's creating, that's never going to show up on a stat sheet. Deflections don't show up on a stat sheet, but she's able to create those turnovers off the deflections that's allowing this guy to play in transition, allowing this guy to get an offensive set. That deflection will lead to somebody else scoring. She's also had higher steals. These are things that we did not see in 2024. You just didn't see that because all the offense had to rely on Angel and what she was able to do inside. Everything relied on what she was able to do in the paint, and that's just not the case this year. So I'm really intrigued to see how she continues to develop. I really hope I'm misreading this energy, because when Angel's having a good time on the court, really hyping up her teammates, it's a fun game to watch. And what I really noticed in that last Dallas Wings game, that game on Saturday, she was not doing well offensively. She was 0 for 7 and couldn't get anything going. But she was so frustrated after a miss that she bounced the ball so hard, caught it herself, and you could see that frustration that she's having with her offensive efficiency. And then late in the game, was able to get great positioning on Dejanay Carrington, puts the hip into her, turns and lays it in, and you start to see that movement going. She was able to finally kick into it late in the game in that Saturday game against Dallas. I want to see that continue with her. Now, a lot of people are asking for Rebecca Allen to be a starter, and I was someone that was calling for it. And I asked Coach Marsh about it. I said, have you started to think about whether or not Rebecca Allen is playing for a starting spot? And he goes, it's something we've thought about. We take everything into consideration. Sometimes it's matchup based, obviously. But when you have that type of energy coming off the bench, you sometimes want to keep it on the bench, because when you don't want to have all of that in your starters, you want to have that person that can be that veteran energy, that electric boost to get things going off the bench. And that's what allowed the 24 to 26 bench points that the Sky were able to get against the Dallas Wings in their win on Saturday. So while I understand the desire for fans to see Rebecca Allen in the starting lineup, I am somebody that was preaching it just a couple weeks ago, thinking like maybe you do get her in there. I understand Marcia's point as well, wanting to keep that energy on the bench. Now, I have a feeling that there's going to be some matchups at times where you want Rebecca Allen in instead of Kia Nurse because of what Rebecca Allen brings lengthwise. There are some teams, like the first team I can think of is you probably want Rebecca Allen in over Kia Nurse against Las Vegas and against Seattle, just so you have that length to battle the length of those two teams. The teams that they've played so far, not as long. You can get away. This sounds bad, but you can get away with Kia Nurse in there. Kia Nurse also has a hotter hand at the arc than Rebecca Allen. So you want, especially against the Indianas, the Dallas, the New Yorks, the Sparks, the Phoenix, you want that 3-point shot. You don't need length. You need more shooters. When you play against a Las Vegas, a Seattle, would also possibly say a Washington Mystics, that is something where I have a feeling Rebecca Allen will be a starter just for pure matchup reasons. So she's doing great off the bench. Honestly, great energy. She's contributing in so many ways. She's got such a wide shot range. She can hit the 3, but that midi of hers is just filthy. She knows how to create that space and find ways for her to get shots in difficult situations. Right now, the Sky have a whole week off. They played Saturday, May 31st, and now they don't play until Saturday, June 7th. They have a whole week to kind of rest, especially after playing 4 games in 6 days, to rest, recuperate, review, and see what they can build on. I believe that this week, Sky need to study the film on the turnovers. I think that's the biggest thing. I also think that they still need to figure out the defensive identity. It's getting there. It is getting there. But it's a work in progress still. I think it's gonna take, An offense you can get going a lot faster sometimes than a defense, because offense is what you can work on that all the time in practice, because you're trying to find spots, trying to find reads, all of that. Defense you really can't work on until you play against opponents. So I always say give 10 games for a defensive identity, 5 games for an offensive identity. And guess what? The Sky got there by the 5th game. That offensive identity was clicking, and that's what led to the win over the Dallas Wings. With Indiana dealing with some injuries, I do believe that the Sky have a good chance at winning this game, but you also have to look back at how the Sky played Indiana last time. They just didn't look good. But granted, that was the first game of the season. So much has happened for both teams from that first game of the season to the 7th game of the season for the Sky. I think it's the 8th game for the Fever. So a lot has happened during that time. I think it's going to be a great game. First time a WNBA game ever is being played inside the United Center, which is such a historic moment. And if you don't know, the United Center is the largest indoor arena in North America. So I'm expecting a huge crowd for that Sky Fever game. I'm excited to see the UC fill up and have some moments and bring that energy. And I'm really intrigued to see what this game is going to be like, because these teams do look completely different than they did game 1. The Sky are finally clicking offensively. They have things working for them. Indiana's dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Indiana also looking to possibly add on a hardship contract player to help them with these injuries right now, because I believe they only have 2 available guards. That's not enough. You need more than 2 guards on a basketball team. So I'm intrigued to see what that game will transpire. I just want to see the Sky continue to limit the turnovers, Ariel Atkins to continue to be aggressive, find ways to build up Kamilla's confidence, see Angel find that offensive efficiency, and lock down the perimeter defense. And if you do that, the Sky absolutely, I predicted them to finish in the top 5. They absolutely can do that. Before we get into the rest of the WNBA, make sure that you follow us on all platforms: Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and our YouTube at Courtside KB. If you're watching us on our YouTube, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and give me some ideas that you want me to talk about. I have some guests coming here in the next few weeks, so we're going to have some different perspectives other than mine here over the next few weeks. So I hope you are excited for the people that I'm going to bring on. We're going to have a fun June, hopefully some fun basketball to talk about. If you are a reader, guess what? Not only do you get these podcasts on Mondays, which I'm so thankful y'all enjoy, but you're also going to get a weekly Sky notebook that I will be putting out on our website that is free for all of you, courtsidewithkarlibell.com. Find all things there. I have some great feature stories that I'm working on now that some games have gotten underway. I've talked to some coaches, got some great things that I can really delve into here in the coming weeks. So if you're excited to see some more breakdowns, get some more details, along with some other things that I'm not able to cover in the podcast, make sure you go to our website, courtsidewithkarlibell.com. And like I plugged at the beginning, every Thursday on our Patreon, exclusive content that you will have film breakdowns, some historical things that I'm going to teach you guys about, talk about some events that have happened within the WNBA space that I can't always talk about in the podcast. Also, if there's other parts of interviews that I have with people that I want to have the full thing available for you guys, that's what that Patreon is for. We got 2 tiers. We got that zone tier, which honestly means you just want to support the podcast. That's it. You get it early, and that's all you get. You just get this podcast early. That's it. You don't get the Patreon exclusive. But you join that man-to-man tier, you get the podcast early, and you also get that Patreon exclusive content every Thursday morning that'll include a boatload of different types of content. All right, let's get into the rest of the WNBA. First off, we got to talk about the New York Liberty. Oh my God. New York put an absolute pounding down on the Connecticut Sun. On Sunday afternoon, I was out running errands, getting things done, just trying to be productive. Wasn't able to watch a lot of that New York Sun game. I come back, it's like 3 o'clock Central Time, and I look at the score and I'm like, what? 19 3, but they did that against the Sky, and they did it against the Sun. They may break that record again this year. Look, the two strongest teams, and that's why they're undefeated, the two strongest teams right now in the league are the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx. I don't see anybody that can really beat them outside of each other. Honestly, I don't see anybody that is playing at that caliber of basketball yet. Could change here as we get further along in the WNBA season. But as of right now, this is I've never seen a season that's been, you already know who's going to be in the finals. Poor Connecticut, man. I just feel for Connecticut. You can tell they're in a full rebuild. But Marina Mabrey, man, I'm intrigued to see the newest episode of Cooking with Marina Mabrey, because not only do we know what her cooking skills are like in the kitchen, but she can cook behind the 3-point line. She's just having some really great shooting nights when it's clicking for her. I saw it here in Chicago too. When she's hitting it, when that shot is falling, she is really hard to defend. She's just got a really pretty shot when it does want to fall. Outside of that, Atlanta still really dominant. I'm also going to say this. After watching the Phoenix Mercury against the Sky, I may take back what I said about them at the beginning of the season, which was I wasn't really sure how they were going to look depth-wise. And now that they also have some injuries, I was really unsure of how they look depth-wise. But then I have to sit there and I got to remember that they have Alyssa Thomas. I know how dominant Alyssa Thomas is. Obviously, I've watched her for a long time. But sometimes you just sit there and you forget how dominant she is, and then you watch her play and you're like, oh, that's right. That's right. AT, I'm sorry. I forgot how dominant you can be. Also, Sammy Wickham, man, just a missile shot. I saw it against the Sky. When she's hitting, it's hitting. Like, I can't wait till the Sky play Phoenix again at home, because I remember when she was on Seattle and I got to sit courtside and watch her shot form. It's so interesting what her shot form is like, because it's a fast release. It's so fast. That wrist it flicks. Like, it's such an interesting shot form. And I feel like she made an adjustment, not a huge adjustment, but I feel like she's made some type of adjustment with her shot, because she is just hitting 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. You know what, Phoenix? I'm sorry I underestimated your game at the start of the season. I'll sit here and I'll take that. That's fine. Atlanta's still doing great Atlanta things. They just look really good. Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard just doing phenomenal things. And BG down there too. I know she didn't look too well, look too good this past weekend, but she's still BG. She's 6'9". Like, and you got Brianna Jones. Like, come on. Again, another team that is really dominant. They've strung together some good wins. I think Atlanta's doing really, really well. Seattle can look good when they want to look good, if that makes sense. This is a team that on paper is a top 5 team. But there are times where and they're top 5 right now in the rankings. Top 6, I believe. But there are times where they make some plays and I'm like, what was that? That one was a little confusing. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm unsure. What was that? Like, they can be really confused. I feel like they overthink sometimes. I don't know if that's the right word, but I feel like Seattle is a team that when they're clicking, they're clicking. And when they're not clicking, it's because they're thinking too much. It's not because the ball isn't moving or anything like that. They're overthinking the game. They're forcing the game to come to them instead of letting the game come to them. And that was the case in their game on Sunday against the Las Vegas Aces. Las Vegas played phenomenal. They locked it down. Jackie Young looked great. Dana Evans also looked very good. Dana Evans in Las Vegas is such a great fit. I think her learning under Becky Hammon and also playing with Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Jewel Lloyd over there, it's a great pairing for her. Great guard group for her to really absorb and learn from. She's doing a really great job out in Las Vegas. But back to that Las Vegas-Seattle game. Seattle kind of lost the game instead of Las Vegas winning. And I know I sound like that Russell Westbrook question, but Seattle overthought themselves out of the game. That last drop was a choice. Like, I was like, I kind of stared and I watched it. I was like, that's interesting. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And then Las Vegas made him pay, and that's veteran experience there. That's what Jackie Young can do. A'ja Wilson just dominating. I know. Look, I'm somebody that believes Nafisa Collier is going to win the MVP, but look, A'ja Wilson's still A'ja Wilson, man. She's still A'ja Wilson. Can't underestimate her. Also going to say this Golden State, man, they're a fun expansion team to watch. I'm intrigued in what Coach Nikasi's system is. I'm still learning it. I'm still trying to understand it. And you can tell that the team's still trying to understand. It's such a weird conglomeration of players. I'm excited to see what they do. So last week, I gave my power rankings. This week, new power rankings for KB here at Courtside with Karli Bell. So New York is number 1, Minnesota number 2. I got ATL. I got Atlanta at number 3. At 4 this week, I have Phoenix. I have Phoenix at number 4. At 5, I have Las Vegas. I have Seattle at 6. I had them drop from 3 to 6. And the only reason I did that is because Las Vegas beat Seattle. So I still think Seattle is a great team. But if Las Vegas beats you got to look at, So, New York 1, Minnesota 2, Atlanta 3, Phoenix 4, Las Vegas 5, Seattle 6, Washington Mystics, you made it into the top 8 rankings for me. Got you at 7. I got you at 7. I know you didn't play the best this week, but you're still they are just a fun team to watch, man. If you have not watched a Mystics game this year, please watch them. They are so fun to watch. They really, really, really are. They are just such a fun team to watch. And then at 8, I got Golden State. And the only reason I don't have Indiana or the Sky there is because the Sky's just starting to get there. Indiana's going through some injuries. Golden State's kind of the only team that has some consistency. Do I believe that Indiana and Chicago can break into that? Yes. But guess what? It's only week 3 of the season. There's going to be a lot more lividity. So let's go through it one more time. 1, New York. 2, Minnesota. 3, Atlanta. 4, Phoenix. 5, Las Vegas. 6, I can count, right? Yeah, 6, Seattle. 7, Washington. 8, Golden State. And then 9 through 13 are the other teams. So, great week. Chicago Sky have a whole week off. They don't play until Saturday, June 7th at the United Center against the Indiana Fever. I will be there, and I'm going to do a podcast right away on Sunday. We're going to let those 2 games play out on Sunday, and I'm going to see who I can get next week to talk about that game because I think it's going to be a doozy of a game. But make sure you follow us at Courtside KB on all platforms. Check out our website, courtsidewithkarlibell.com. Join our Patreon for exclusive content every single Thursday, and that's Courtside with Karli Bell at Courtside KB there. And guess what? I'm going to see you next time on the sidelines.